Hello, and welcome to this mini episode of Monarchist Minute. I am Vice Chancellor Clements Magnolia, and I'm here with my good friend, Watercube.
Hello, how are y'all doing? Or how are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, I know it's weird. It's just the two of us today because reasons, good old reasons.
Locked in the monarchist vault.
So true. Okay, so this one, we don't really have a whole lot to really go over, so I think we're just gonna do a quick little rundown of what we both think about President Trump's vice presidential candidate, or the guy he chose. Of course, if you've been watching the news, you'll see that he chose the junior senator from Ohio, JD Vance. Interesting pick. Interesting pick. I mean,
So strange.
really, I don't know. I'm gonna say it right now, putting on a record, I do not support. I'm not supportive of him as the VP pick.
Like, okay, when I saw that he got nominated, like, I haven't really been paying much to the Republican Party. Like, I vote Democrat, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
But it was a literally who moment.
Yeah, it was like, who is this guy?
Like, literally, like, who is it? Who? Where'd this guy come from? Oh, he wrote a book, Hillbilly Elegy. Like, that's
Cool,
all I.
but like, anything else?
He called Trump Hitler.
Yeah. That's fun. That's freaking fun. I mean, like, I'm not like this big, huge Trump fan. I mean, I'll vote for him. I'll campaign for him. But he's. I mean,
He's a strange. Like, it's just like JD Vance. Like,
JD, why? I mean,
why?
there were so many better candidates to choose from. That's the one thing I harked on, was the fact that there was a bunch of other candidates that Republicans Trump could have chose. Burgum, Scott, Carson, Youngkin. He could have technically chosen Rubio, though it would have caused some trouble with same state stuff. But Trump has a bunch of real estate. He could have just changed his address, but whatever, potato potato. But there were so many other candidates that he could have chosen, and he chose like the one that he kind of just came out of nowhere.
It's the power of the PayPal mafia.
So true.
Like,
Yeah, I guess that leads us into like the main reason we wanted to talk about this is the fact that JD Vance has apparently at least some sort of connection to what are they called again?
the neo-reactionary movement.
The neo-reactionary movement, yeah.
Which, like, to explain them briefly, think of them as like the natural endpoint of anarcho-capitalism for the most part, where they came from the Hans Hermann Hoppe or Hoppe, like Hoppian sort of line.
Yeah.
With Menashe's Moldbug, also known as Curtis Yarvin, like writing his own little manifesto about like returning to like monarchy, but he put it under a very much bourgeois corporate perspective, where he wanted corporations to assume the role of nobility.
Yeah.
He wrote a very interesting article about how Biden or Trump should become king, just to start like the office of monarchy as well, like, which was just a weird one.
Yeah, I mean, like, we don't. I mean, I don't like him. No one in the council, no one here really likes him anyway. So, we do not support or even really know the guy like at all. So,
Like,
just have to put that out there.
Is kind of like one of those tech bro feudalists, basically, where he thinks he's smart enough where if in an anarcho system he could become the duchy of whatever, and he can stylize himself as such because he can make enough money doing computer programming, because he was a computer science nerd basically before he got into the political field.
Yeah.
And JD Vance considers Curtis Yarvin a personal friend.
Oh, I mean, good for him. I mean, really good having friends, but I mean, heck, I'm gonna go on that freaking meme that apparently is really popular right now of just the I'm the blank blank and I blank. It's like, yeah, well, I'm this thing and I'm gonna kill you. Like, that's what I think about like Yarvin right now. It's just the fact he's just like, well, I'm a rich guy who knows how to do programming, so I would obviously get into power under my anarcho-capitalist system. And it's just someone else just, yeah, well, I have a gun. I'm gonna shoot you and take your stuff.
Well, that's why, like, he was innovative, because he started off in that anarcho-capitalist circle, which was like popular among the Silicon Valley types. but realized there was no way to guarantee safety, so he leans on the traditional forms of monarchism and traditionalism to try to provide that lens of safety.
I mean, all it really is just a crutch for his own, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like power hunger.
Yeah, basically.
Like a lot of these guys, like the Dark Enlightenment, the only useful part from it is Nick Land, and even then, after Nick Land, had psychosis while taking too many stimulants, his writings kind of dropped off.
Yeah.
Like the CCRU was great when it was great, but it's bad. Like everything after that, like it's just kind of garbage, and it is very closely intertwined with the racialist right as well.
Yeah.
Like, and with Curtis Yarvin now, like it's seeming like Trump's gonna win most likely if the Democrats can't get there.
I mean, I'm gonna say this right now. Because even the polls just have Trump winning the popular vote, and Trump wins the popular vote, he wins the election. I mean, like the chances of him winning the popular vote and then losing the election are so slim. Especially when you remember Trump only lost the last election by a combined 40,000 votes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, if Trump wins the popular vote, he's winning the election.
Like, with him seeming like he's going to win, or like probably just going to win. Like, I don't really know.
Yeah. I mean, even if the Democrats do put like Kamala Harris up, the woman has no charisma at all.
I love Kamala. She's my favorite. Like I'm honestly like
you're the one betting a freaking 49 cents to the dollar on her winning the nomination.
Like I'm not that willing to put my money where my mouth is, but like I'm down for Kamala. But like with Trump winning, most likely winning, JD Vance being the VP, that means Curtis Yarvin and his ilk are closer to power than they ever been. It's kind of like if Ron DeSantis actually was in group chats with Groypers, because like also I think there's reports of JD Vance in group chats with like basically a bunch of 16-year-old fascists, and he was talking to them in like terminally online political speak.
Yeah,
like I don't like. Let's just say if Trump picks someone else, I'd at least be able to live with that. Yeah. Like if like the
almost any of like literally any of the other major candidates that were on his list of possibly being his VP were all so much better. I mean, like none of them really had that much like real political baggage on them. You know, like Youngkin. What's Youngkin got? Even like Burgum. He's just the governor of North Dakota. I mean, you can't really have a lot from the freaking Dakotas.
Yeah, like
even Rubio, just a pretty normal, like an actual like pretty normal senator from Florida. Like not a lot. Tim Scott, pretty normal guy. Who else was on this list? Carson, just a normal guy. So like. I don't understand why. Like, I'm still trying to figure out why he chose Vance. Because usually when a candidate chooses their VP, they pick them specifically to court a certain demographic or group. And like previously, Trump picked Pence because Pence was just, a pretty milquetoast Christian conservative from the Rust Belt. Nothing really big about Pence. He's just a pretty normal guy. Like normal governor.
Yeah.
The Rust Belt. So, not a whole lot about him. He was picked to calm people down, basically. Let's see. 2008. Palin was picked by McCain because McCain wanted to court the right wing of the party into himself because he was pretty moderate. So, usually the vice presidential candidate is someone who you pick to try and court people to support you. And like Joe Biden was picked by Obama because he needed to court that boomer vote. Well, no, not even the boomer vote. He's not even a boomer. He's a freaking silent generation.
He had to court the the Delawarean vote, specifically them, like
the Atlantican vote.
Yeah, I think,
and back then Joe did have at least somewhat of a Scranton Joe Appeal, you know.
Yeah, like he had a career before him.
Yeah, he still had that he could go back on, yeah.
Trump pressing the JD Vance button to try to court all the weird groypers to mobilize them in bulk.
And then frickin' didn't even work because now you got frickin' Fuentes just guys, we can't vote for him because look at Vance's marriage. He made a bad marriage because he didn't marry a white woman. I love white women, guys.
Trust.
Yeah, he loves them so much.
Yeah, I just never mind. Anything I was gonna say there would not be productive.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I was gonna say something else, but I'm like, no, I don't know. It's not productive.
But like I JD Vance, like my big assumption is that like Trump just wanted a loyalist in the VP slot, someone who like not even a true loyalist, just someone who wants to see authoritarian power structures in the presidential office, and who would enable that. Compared to Mike Pence, like one of the analyses I read, which was a liberal analysis, but still somewhat valuable, is that Vance was picked because Pence would try to like cool tempers with Trump from him like taking more radical approaches. JD Vance is going to be clearly an enabler with his opinions on how the Congress and Supreme Court should be ignored unilaterally.
Yeah. Again, there is my it's just ugh. It's just ugh.
Yeah.
So many better candidates. So many better candidates.
I think as soon as you say like I'm tuned into certain niche far right internet circles, like you should just be like any political spectrum internet circle, you should just be barred from being elected.
Yeah,
like functioning democracy, but we don't even have that. We have like this broken one.
Yeah,
like, we couldn't even full ass a democracy here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could say it's just the inevitable end of democracy where it becomes this.
Well, like I think it was always kind of like this. It just was never one. We had the political machines. We had all the corruption that were just baked into the system, and then we had this era of like the machines federalizing.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, that's been just kind of the slow decline of the nation state. It's like it's not just the issue of democracy; it's the issue of capitalism always seeking to like subsume power in the system because it tries to portray itself as the great democracy when capitalism is just capitalism. It feeds its own purposes.
Yeah.
It's why the bourgeois brought about liberalism to begin with.
Yeah. I mean,
like, in JD Vance, it's just kind of the culmination of that because they're now trying to backtrack all the liberalism associated with capitalism and go to the NRX direction, which is like, what if we had an illiberal capitalism, guys? Wouldn't that be better? We wouldn't live in a soulless society. Trust. It's not that capitalism turns all gods into commodities or something.
Yeah.
Like, it's. I think also another reason why Trump possibly picked him was, again, like, the NRX crowd being very much tied into the PayPal Mafia crowd and group like that, where it was also probably a way to get more donations from those big donors, those whales.
Possibly, yeah.
Like, because I feel as if Trump, especially post-assassination attempt, like, has enough popularity where it's not about just winning, it's also winning and showing power and strength and having the, like, war chest to do that with.
I mean, like I can tie that back because like my county's GOP, like we are currently not doing great on funds right now for because we have the elections this November and we're kind of stretched a bit thin on not thin but not as good as we want to be funds, like not as good as we were in 2020 funds.
Yeah,
and so like and I remember the Trump campaign was asking us to donate money to them, and we're like, we can't afford to send y'all money because we also have to fund our own races down here. Like, I mean, this is still like a county that votes like 60% Republican, but like the thing about my county, my county, no one votes here. Like, I think the record for the highest turnout in my county was like 35%.
That makes sense. Like a lot of also people are just dissatisfied with the democracy, so they don't participate.
I mean, it's not even that. It's the fact that the main problem is the fact that people don't know they're supposed to vote here, and so they just don't vote at all. Or the main thing in like my county is just apathy. Everyone in
Yeah,
our county is apathetic, which is weird because all the other neighboring counties have much higher turnout.
that's weird. That's
It really is.
strange.
It's really weird because I mean, it might be because of the military base because we also have like
Oh yeah, no, that's 100% it.
yeah, the military base. Yeah, like I said, people don't know that they're supposed to be voting here.
Like
They just don't vote at all. But
expect like I wonder if any of the money that like Trump gets from the PayPal mafia will like dwindle down to the chapters, like the county
oh
chapters and state
no,
chapters.
oh no, oh heck no, no, it's not going.
Okay,
No, it's not going to us. Like we don't get anything from the national. The national does not care about the local level.
fair enough.
Never cared. It never has, never will. I mean, this. I mean, maybe it will because, of course, the new RNC chair is Mike Whatley, who was North Carolinian. So maybe he'll care about us, but it's hard to say, honestly.
Like
I mean, yeah, that's the one problem though, is the fact of just getting funds for a lot of stuff. Is the fact that nobody really wants to donate to the parties anymore. They just want to donate to like the big national candidates. And this is something that, we've always said on here, is the fact of get involved in local politics, because your local politics is usually a whole lot more important and affects you personally a whole lot more than national politics does.
yeah,
Like the only like real issue like nationwide that really is mainly affected primarily by the national is immigration. Like, that's the one thing that's from national. Almost most everything else is either state or local, and people don't care about state or local. They only go to national because the only thing they're ever shown is just the big stuff. Oh well, the country, the nation. It's like, yes, but it starts at the local level.
a nation has components. Who'da thunk?
Really? What? That's a crazy idea right there. And no one understands that anymore. And it's like
Yeah.
people like I keep on seeing like specifically the older generation in my county always being like, for a democracy to function, you need to have an educated public. And I'm just like, there's never really been a real educated public. And
Yeah, no.
even in most democracies, like the original democracies, they made a whole point being the fact that suffrage, the right to vote, was limited to those who were actually educated, because they realized that it has to be to those who are actually educated.
Like,
And even then, like half the time, those people were just dumb nepo babies.
they were just educated barely enough to understand the systems. Like,
Exactly.
like everyone's stupid. Everyone, especially when you get them into a crowd, are stupid, and that's just the name of human psychology.
It's like what George Carlin said. George Carlin, he literally said how he said, I love a person, I love one person, but then you start adding more people, they get dumber every time. The more people, the dumber they are. And like I saw that, I don't remember what movie it was, but some movie just a person is like people are like, that guy is so dumb, and one said no, a person, like, no, someone said people are really smart. It's like, no, a person is smart, people are dumb.
Because people are liable to groupthink. Like, it's just like the natural thing. It was a survival mechanism. It's good when you're like a big group that you're a dumb herd able to go off and do stuff. It's why gangs also form. It's a basic social formation. That's why democracy doesn't work, and oftentimes it selects the leader of it. Like, democracy is more just a ritual to make you feel included than, actually be included.
Yeah, exactly.
To tie this a bit back to JD Vance, I think it's like 100% Trump trying to like mend the broken bridge between him and Thiel, because basically Thiel has been babying Vance's career, like very strongly babying his career, and it's like in 2023, like Thiel refused to give 10 million to the Trump campaign.
Yeah, that might be it then. Yeah.
Yeah, so more selling out of the nation state to private capital and private interests.
God, you gotta love it.
I love gangsterism. It never fails. especially when the corruption gets like only in like the hands of a very few people and they just try to run the country like a corporation.
Behind the shysters, the bars are calling. Except they'll never go there.
It's just over. It's just over.
It was always Jover.
Yeah. Like,
well, there. I mean, even though we're kind of, we're kind of dooming right now. There's always still hope at the end, though. You never should truly give up hope. Like it's bleak right now, but things can always get better.
I'm more on the mindset of like go with the flow as everything kind of collapses in on themselves, but not even out of a doomist perspective. I'm just saying that whatever comes out after this will probably be better. We just need to go through that rough period. Like,
that's how I see like the current population decline in the world.
It's an adjustment.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know if I'd say it's an adjustment. I think it's specifically in like Japan and Korea. I think this was inevitable due to their work culture. I think this was inevitably going to happen, and this is just the natural adjustment of their population having to force itself to readjust their economy and their lifestyle to allow themselves to rebuild upon it.
Yeah,
and I think it's gonna get bad, but it'll get better afterwards. We just have to weather the storm.
Yeah, like humanity always goes through changes. It always goes through like new issues that it needs to overcome, and it evolves and adapts.
We get through it at the end of the day. Like stuff happens, but we still keep going.
Like with the population or with the adjustment thing, I'm more thinking about that in regards to Europe and North America. It's outside of people just not having kids because too expensive or whatever. It's like it's shown when like a population receives the majority of the resources it needs to survive, they tend to stop having kids as much.
Yeah,
like, this has been shown in multiple different animals. Like it's a whatever thing because it's a way to stop like an excessive growth of population.
Yeah, except for Kazakhstan for some reason.
Well, Kazakhstan is still developing and they're still modernizing, so they're I know, country like, that's modernizing is booming.
I mean, fair enough, but still, like I remember watching a whole video about a guy talking about Kazakhstan and the demographics and everything, and it's just like he was talking about how Kazakhstan is still a whole lot more modern than we really give it credit for, and he said usually at the end of my videos I talk about why this is happening, and for Kazakhstan, I have no idea.
Like, I'd say it's not just because like they were like not modern and now modernizing. It's just that they're still getting their logistics squared away, and as that does, they face a population boom. Like most of sub-Saharan Africa, which aren't as bad as we tend to make them out to be.
Yeah,
like they're still pretty bad, but it's like they're going through a population boom because it still makes sense for them to go through a population.
They're going through industrialization, basically.
Yeah, like they're catching up to the modern day because like they only recently had their equivalent to a First World War. Like
in the Congo War,
like they're still catching up, and they'll get there. And once they'll
get there,
they'll finally have a good society. Like it's why I'm against intervention, especially in Africa. Like we should just kind of prime directive that shit and just let them evolve and take their own statuses as government.
The French won't let that happen.
This is why Europe must be abolished.
No, this is why we just abolish the French because the French keep on fucking up everything.
Yeah, but if you abolish the French, you in turn abolish the German. They're all interconnected now. That European Union thing, that's going to be their downfall.
Unironically, yes. But that's besides the point. But thank you for joining us on this much shorter episode, but short and sweet episode of Monarchist Minute. Thank you for coming on, Watercube. Always one of my favorite people to have on here. We always have great conversations, even if sometimes we go off the rails and it's kind of funny, but that's what makes it fun.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. I'll just say our quick official MOA prayer. O Lord, thy loving mercy is as high as the heavens. It tells us of thy truth that is filled with holiness. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost, bless you, may God bless you, and have a wonderful day.